Respect me! A little tribute there to Hideo Itami, as you know, the rumors have been floating around, but hasn't been confirmed by WWE.com yet. Still, keeping a close eye, which is when I will finally, do my little video, my thoughts on it. But just a little tribute, as this seems Hideo Itami is heading out the door just for the introduction for this special live stream. But guys, what is going on? As always, this is the Club of the Man 1993 coming at you live for my top 10 special live stream of the week. I had a little bit of a hard time trying to decide what topic to do. There were still a lot of topics left. I wasn't really didn't feel like digging like that deep though this week. I don't know why. With everything that's sorry, I just saw some stuff on my desk that was kind of bothering me, so I had to fix it. But with everything that happened this past week in WWE, to be real, I felt a little burned out. Like last night, I watched NXT. I didn't really think it was. It was just just a pre-show basically as an episode of NXT. Wasn't anything to talk about. That's why as usual, I didn't review NXT this week. I felt a little burned out though after what all happened this past week. With the announcement, the long show of Royal Rumble, which again was still good, but again just too long of a show. With the announcements like Dean Ambrose leaving in April, Hideo Itami probably on his way out as well. How all this was just right now it's just looking it's looking to be a rough time to be a WWE fan. All these people are getting ready are wanting to make their case, trying to lead the revival. The Canellises recently also. Who knows who else? Like Sasha Banks could leave for all we know. A lot of people, honestly, just are not happy with the wrestling business. So I thought, instead of just digging deep into the actual history, I felt for this top 10 special live stream, I thought, I'd make this one a little more personal. So just like, clear my mind, have some fun, and just remind myself of moments. And now, hey, I was going to do something like, my top 10 favorite moments, maybe a wrestling film. I kind of already did that one time when I did a top 25, stream, like sometime last year that I decided, I can't quite really do, another top 25 again or something like that, or just top 10 moments. So I thought, let's do matches. Let's talk about my top 10 matches to share personally that I have witnessed in person. Now, again, in my 6 years now, as I'm going to my 6th year as a wrestling fan. Again, first wrestling event I ever attended was with a group of friends just to hang out with. I just met at the beginning of college. Well, didn't really know most of them through college, but one of them I knew through other events. And then again, my stories I always say is I became a wrestling fan. At the beginning of college, I recently reunited with an old friend of mine I played baseball with 2 years earlier. Through him, I made a few other friends. 1 or 2 of them ended up going to the same college as me. And then just to still hang out when I was at baseball games, we went to other things too, and they invited me to come along to this wrestling event, which was the Raw and Smackdown tapings before Christmas in 2012. Again, the only thing I remember that night was Damian Sandow in pink tights. I remember Great Khali dressed up as the world's tallest Christmas elf. And that was also when Alberto Del Rio killed Santa, and we had to have like a Christmas street fight between John Cena and Alberto Del Rio in the main event. So how 6 years later am I a WWE fan? I do not know, guys. But I didn't really become a full-time fan. I watch things off and on. I got together to watch Rumble, Chamber, Mania, and then off and on, I checked it out in the summer, but wasn't really, that into it yet. And I always say SummerSlam 2013, that show was a show that grabbed my attention instantly, and I became a wrestling fan ever since, like full-time wrestling fan ever since. So again, that's my story. Of course, as I've probably said how many times, how I became a full-time wrestling fan. And these 10 matches are matches that I have witnessed in person, which means at live events, whether it's for Raw, SmackDown Live, even if it's just like a freaking house show, because there actually is one on a house show that's on this list. And of course, a few pay-per-views. I've had my privilege of attending a few pay-per-views in person so far. My first one I attended in person was the 2014 Royal Rumble. I also attended a SummerSlam 2000, SummerSlam 2015 in person. And of course, NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 1, although it was half the show because our mega bus got stuck in traffic. So we almost missed the whole show. We missed the first hour, so I got to see half that show. Shoot. I saw that. I saw Roadblock End of the Line. And this past year, I got to see Extreme Rules in person, which I actually have one honorable mention that I did not put on this on my list at all. That I will mention that before we get started. I wanted to include because there was definitely a good amount of matches that I felt I wanted to list. Again, one of the matches from a live event, I didn't want to include him first because I don't quite remember the full match. But like thinking back on it now, I remember this match as being good, but how much I appreciate it years later. But it's a little bit higher up on my list. So again, this is one is to have fun, be a little personal, share some of the best matches that we witnessed in person. Even if you want to share some of the live chat that you guys have seen in person, go right ahead for it as always, guys. So let's check the live chat before you start and see what we got here. Hey Lauren, how are you doing? Not too bad about yourself. What's up, Mark? Raw and SmackDown was bad, was confusing. NXT was and 205 Live was boring. 205 Live I thought was all right this week. NXT again was just mainly a recap show with just two matches. It felt like watching a pre-show. I felt, which the matches were fun for what they were, but again, it wasn't really worth reviewing this week. So, but next week, of course, we'll get back into NXT reviews. And UK wasn't too bad this week either. So mad Dean and the Tommy are leaving. I mean, well, again, I still kind of have this small suspicion wondering if WWE is doing this as a work or if this is for real. I mean, I can see Dean leaving because of, he's not being booked how his character should be. Again, he's pretty much being booked the same way as a babyface, except as a heel. He's being this corny, goofy babyface he was set as a heel, which is not what he needs to be. He needs to be some dark villain, like as a lot of people say, like the Joker. He basically has to be John Moxley, how he was in CZW, but that's not how it works. So again, I could definitely see him leaving, but again, I still have I'm 95% sure he's leaving, but I have that 5% thinking, what if this is a work? Because because here's my thing. One, there was rumors that there's supposed to be some big thing happening that it involved Dean Ambrose. At the Royal Rumble, but they seem to drop it since Ambrose announced over the weekend he was going to be leaving. But also, why would WWE announce ahead of time on their own website a superstar is leaving? So that's kind of got me around a little. But then again, I think it was the Lexman who said in his thoughts on Dean Ambrose leaving, is WWE that creative anymore to pull this off as a work? You know what I mean? So again, I'm still sticking to 95% he's leaving, 5%, it's a work. Today with Tommy, though, the guy's almost 40. I think he's in his late 30s, like 38, I think, 39, somewhere in there. I mean, he was, again, as I probably mentioned several times, he was supposed to actually get Finn Balor's NXT title run because he was supposed to win the NXT title in that, Beast in the East, shows there. They did when Finn Balor won it off of Kevin Owens. That was supposed to be a day with Tommy, but he got injured. He suffered two big injuries that kind of pushed him to the side a little bit. So obviously this guy has been more than just 205 Live. I thought he was getting momentum on 205 Live again. With this recent booking, I've been his pairing with Arya Daivari, but obviously he felt that he wasn't getting that. So I mean, I don't blame him for leaving either. But yeah, it definitely is a little sad to see them go, especially Dean for sure. Sasha said if she's not the first woman to main event Mania, she'll be upset, which is gonna be unfortunate. You attended WWE in 2012. Again, the first ever event I ever attended, I went on a live event to the Raw and SmackDown tapings just with some new friends I just made, just to hang out and whatnot. And the first thing I saw was again Great Khali in a Christmas, the world's tallest Christmas elf. Meanwhile, a year earlier, I thought I was the world's tallest Christmas elf when I played Hermie in my school's Christmas play. But best years where we add to era, Ruthless Aggression era, and 2009 to 2013 for Lauren, and 16-7 for SmackDown for sure. And what was Road Dogg doing on Raw again? I don't know. That segment was just so freaking. It repeated almost the same exact thing as we got from the Rumble. It was so stupid. And Rusev and Elias being heel again made me mad too. Mark was at Raw 1000. Nice. I mean, I have gone back and watched Raw 1000. Actually, when I first subscribed to the network back in late 2015 when I finally got the network, that was actually one of the first shows I watched was Raw 1000. That was a good show, so I'm glad you got to witness that live, Mark. Lauren's been to one Raw house show in 2015, May in 2017, which I was awesome for you for sure. SmackDown 2017 after Mania as well. Nice. He was there for Battleground 2015, which that wasn't too bad of a show. I do agree. Like, I'm starting to worry though if this keeps up, everybody leaving, WWE's not going to last much longer. I mean, honestly, I had that fear too, man. I don't blame you. Lauren said the best matches she's seen in person are Seth and Cena in WWE Live in 2015, Triple H versus Seth at Mania 33, Orton and Wyatt promo, and on SmackDown 2017 after Mania. Nice. I mean, I would have done promos, but I kind of mix the matches and promos in my top 25 moments, my favorite moments as a wrestling fan. So maybe I'll do like segments or something like that sometime, just if I need something just more personal to talk about. The SmackDown Live Elimination Chamber looks stacked for sure, even though it doesn't make sense how those guys got the opportunities. Who takes a break during SmackDown Live at 9:54? Yeah, that was ridiculous how they just did that in the middle of that segment also. Did you see unaired footage of SmackDown? I did see that. Fire a creative team and let the superstars have the creative control. What does that sound like? AEW. Oh, boy. Yeah, how was Battleground 2015 was not too bad. She feels that Orton will turn face soon. We'll have to see. Raw 1000 was his first live event. Nice. Why bring Jeff Jarrett back and have Angle back as a featured wrestler? I don't know. Again, well, first off, apparently I think her Jeff Jarrett might have gotten a creative position. And not good. Also, speaking of Kurt Angle, I don't know why he had that match on Raw against Corbin. That was awful. But apparently Angle was not supposed to be in the Rumble, actually. Apparently that was supposed to be Zack Ryder, but for some reason they replaced him with Kurt, and he was there for 3 minutes. Why? I don't know. Raw 1000 was great. Lesnar here is rumored to go to AEW for sure. Yeah, again, I was not Mandy and Sonya did automatically get into the chamber match. Why? Again, do not know. Again, it just does not make any sense at all why that they got thrown in, but easily. But then everybody on Raw is to qualify in pointless tag matches against it's just the random teams we guys gotta throw together. But I'm gonna have my my chamber card hopefully uploaded. I may work on it tomorrow. If not, I'll try to get it uploaded sometime earlier next week as well. As I got some matches picked out for that already. So we'll see what happens there. I don't know why WWE gave up on Rusev and Elias as heels, especially teaming up Rusev with Nakamura. Like, these guys were just feuding. Like, how did they all of a sudden like each other? Like, if it was at least, Rusev and Nakamura brought us worth a triple threat, okay, but this is really Rusev and Nakamura becoming a freaking team. It makes no sense here, guys, but I don't know. What do I even know? Yeah, Undertaker returning at Battleground 2015 was definitely a nice surprise. And it was in St. Louis also, which was Orton's hometown. So I think that's when he was feuding with Sheamus after Sheamus won Money in the Bank. Nice. Mark lives in St. Louis. If you're a Cardinals fan, gladly give the respect on the Pirates and Cardinals rivalry, but definitely the Cardinals are going to be a good team this year. Grabbing Goldschmidt in the offseason for sure. But we'll talk about baseball some other time. But definitely I get that shout out there for you, Mark, as well. But yeah, so let's get started with my list of top 10 matches I have seen live in person. Now, an honorable mention I forgot to write on this list, and I thought about this afterwards. And I keep forgetting. Oh crap! I attended Extreme Rules last year, which again to me was not a waste of money. But when I kind of look back on Extreme Rules now, it looks like it was a pointless show now based off of what happened after the show. So now I'm kind of like, okay, when I attended it, it was fun, but the aftermath, kind of it didn't really need to happen. You know what I mean? But one match that I will remember for sure from Extreme Rules 2018 for sure, besides, of course, the countdown from every single minute and during the Iron Man match, which took me out of the match and just pissed me off to no end. But trying to think here. Oh yeah. The match though that I thought was my favorite match of that show for sure was what was I trying to thought already. Oh yeah, the WWE title match between AJ Styles and Rusev. I appreciated that match because it was a match that that they like AJ Styles and Rusev I thought worked very well together, and I knew AJ was probably going to win. This was like more of like a pushover match before AJ got to his feud with Samoa Joe. But at least they didn't make Rusev look weak, I felt, in this match. Also, they made it seem like Rusev had a chance to actually win this match. I more so just appreciated it for that since it gave him a title opportunity, as he's been long overdue for a main event title opportunity. This could have main evented the show. I mean, I appreciate them giving us, a fresh, match in the main event with Rollins and Ziggler for the IC title in the main event, the Iron Man match. But once again, just the way the crowd reacted, kind of just killed it for me. I definitely love this match. Yeah, it was a match that it made Rusev like he was definitely a strong, legitimate contender for a championship, and that's why I had to throw out an honorable mention really quick. But that'd be like my number 11, as I say, for matches I have seen live in person. So we're gonna actually start off with number 10. My number 10 is actually from the first episode of Raw I attended live. After I could say I became more of a fan. It was the main event of the October 7th, 2013 episode of Raw. It was the fallout from Battleground 2013, which of course I had not watched. I had watched SummerSlam, but then the next pay-per-view I watched was Hell in a Cell, which my friends and I bought on pay-per-view. But then afterwards, Survivor Series, TLC, those I watched on. My friend told me about this bootleg site I watched it on, which I would watch most pay-per-views on, so I didn't have the network yet until it got taken down. But then most of the time I was going over my friends to watch it anyways, and then I eventually, got the network for myself. But but the first Raw I attended since I became a fan from SummerSlam 2013 was the main event of that show, which was Daniel Bryan, Cody Rhodes, and Goldust taking on the Shield. From the October 7th, 2013 edition of Raw. I just remember this being, a really fun main event. Of course, the show started off, I remembered, with the Big Show, being fired by Stephanie McMahon for, what happened in the main event last night. Even though at the time, they were taking advantage of Big Show, being broke basically, and doing anything. That's when the Authority was first formed, is taking advantage of the more sensitive, giant. It was not really the best writing to begin with for Big Show, but having him, knock out anyone they asked him to do. So of course he knocked out Daniel Bryan, as he said in that segment, and I knocked out Daniel Bryan because you told me so. And then of course he knocked out Randy Orton because he claimed he just couldn't take it anymore. What the Authority was doing to him. But that happened that night. Instead, for the main event the main event was a 6-man tag match. The night before, I didn't watch Battleground 2013. I heard it was an awful show though, but apparently the best match of the night, which I could see it happening for sure, had to have been the career the match with the Rhodes family's career on the line, with Cody Rhodes and Goldust taking on the Shield. And at the time, I think the Shield had lost on live TV already before, but they had not, like, on an episode of Raw or SmackDown against Team Hell No or something like that. But I think the first time they ever really lost on pay-per-view, I think, was the which was almost Elimination Chamber 2013, but thank goodness they got that finish changed. Was at Battleground, believe it or not. It was the first time they lost on pay-per-view to the Rhodes family. This 6-man tag match, basically, Bryan getting his revenge on, the Authority's henchmen somewhat at the time, and even the Cody Rhodes and Goldust, just continuing their feud with them as well, which led to a tag title match the following Raw after, where Cody Rhodes and Goldust won the tag titles off the Shield. But I remember this being a fun main event. I remember this match originally ended in disqualifications. I think was it Ambrose who used the chair on Cody, or was I think it was Ambrose who used the chair on Cody. Of course, looking back at the highlights from this match I did before I did this match, Ambrose, being just just a crazy, loudmouth that he was there, whatnot, was the way he was with the Shield is what needed to be at the single star, except that he even dug deeper, of course. As a heel, of course, I said before. But I remember this match was going to end in disqualification, but then Triple H restarted the match, and he was out on commentary, and he made it no disqualifications. And that's what led to Randy Orton coming out of nowhere, hitting an RKO on Daniel Bryan for getting revenge for Bryan attacking him earlier. And then he threw Bryan back in, and Rollins pinned Bryan to get the victory. But then afterwards, they had the Authority demanded, them to beat down on the baby faces again, until the Big Show, who had been fired earlier, in the night, came back out, and he, broke off, the Shield and Orton attacking him to then him knock out Triple H. But that main event, personally, I thought was definitely a fun tag match. It helped, continue the storyline and stuff for the following week when Cody Rhodes and Goldust beat the Shield, although they did have help from the Big Show delivering a knockout punch. I can't remember if it was on the for the one who got the pin or not. Got pinned or not, but I remember that tag match being a fun main event for sure. I remember, just the crowd was definitely hot that night. So that's why it's my number 10. It's the main event from the October 7th, 2013 edition of Raw, right here in Pittsburgh, which was Daniel Bryan, Cody Rhodes, and Goldust versus the Shield. That is my number 10. My number 9, despite the fact that I wasted my money going to this show in 2016. Again, I left my best friend's yearly Christmas party early for this. I could have stayed there a couple more hours and actually enjoyed seeing the show. But one match I enjoyed from this show, Roadblock End of the Line 2016. Yes, I attended. I paid $100 to go to that show, and I wasted that money because that show was garbage. But this match I actually did enjoy. It was the Raw Tag Title match between, at that time, they weren't known as The Bar yet. It was Sheamus and Cesaro taking on the New Day. This was, of course, a couple days after the New Day had broken Demolition's record for the most days, longest consecutive days as tag team champions or whatnot, with like 483, I think it was now. And of course, this was around a time also where they first started this team, after that Best of 7 series, which I thought them team up was a waste, but it's worked out for them in the long run. The Bar, Sheamus and Cesaro being the heel tag team they are now. Of course, that was still, they were kind of the bizarre team like how it was with Miz and Mizdow in 2015. But they had told that story of Sheamus and Cesaro not really getting along together until Survivor Series. They were the sole survivors, and then they went on to get another match for the tag titles again at Roadblock End of the Line. I thought it was definitely a fun opening tag match between these two teams. This is the night, of course, Cesaro and Sheamus won and dethroned the New Day after 483 days of the championship. So it was definitely kind of a moment for the jumpstart for the Bar's career as a tag team, as they would go on now be, I think, 5-time tag team champions. I believe. Well, Cesaro is now a 6-time tag team champion since he did get a brief run with tag titles with Tyson Kidd back in 2015, which was also a fun team for sure. They, of course, probably could have been even more fun, but unfortunately, Tyson Kidd suffered that neck injury in a house show against Samoa Joe. But I just remember thinking this was a fun tag match to definitely witness live for sure, and that's why I had to throw it on my list here at my number 9 on this list. My number 9 is Sheamus and Cesaro taking on the New Day for the Raw Tag Team Championships at Roadblock End of the Line in 2016. I promise you guys, we're not going to be talking about this match again in this show. My number 8 was an NXT TakeOver match, as I said before, and I actually. True fact, of course, I was not watching NXT full time. I didn't start watching NXT full time until I got the network in late 2015. Is when I first started watching NXT. So technically, being in 2016, I started watching NXT full time. But again, before then, the only takeovers I had seen was Takeover Revenge. I watched with friends. Half a Takeover Brooklyn once again got there late due to my mega bus getting stuck in traffic when we left for New York that day. I didn't see Takeover Respect, but I did watch Takeover London. Then it's been full time ever since after Takeover London. But NXT Takeover Brooklyn 1. This is one of 2 matches, of course, on this list. Of course, the other one I could not pass up. But I had to give this match credit because it was actually the first time I ever saw Finn Balor. I can remember seeing Finn Balor in action. And it was Finn Balor versus Kevin Owens in the NXT Championship ladder match at TakeOver Brooklyn 1. First off, I appreciate this match more known the fact that it surpassed a legendary match beforehand that definitely just stole the show. It's not going to be top. So it's like, it's hard for people to, top off match of the night, or at least to get the crowd back into a match after a match like that we witnessed. But again, it was my first match. Got to see Finn Balor wrestle live. It was also Kevin Owens' swan song from NXT, as he's only there for 6 months, of course, but it was his last match in NXT also before he moved up full time onto the main roster. I just remember it being just a fun match, the way to end this main event. And to end this legendary show, of course, I got a freaking sleeper in my eye here. Oh boy. Thank God. But I just remember, being just a fun ladder match. That's definitely a hidden gem that's not talked about as much from Taker Brooklyn. When you think Taker Brooklyn won, you think of the women in that match, of course, which we will talk about them later on also. But again, it was just me being able to witness Finn Balor live, and I thought, it was a fun match with the ladders for sure. So that's why it's my number 8. I'm sorry. Oh my goodness, there's something in my eye. I think I had that time. Okay. All right. So that's my number 8. My number 7 was the following night. 2 matches, of course, I saw at SummerSlam 2015. Despite it being, decent, but, a show that I remember coming out feeling, okay, not a bad wrestling show, but not much storyline development, I felt, came out of the show. Like, nothing really happened that got me psyched looking forward, I felt. But 2 matches I enjoyed from the show. One's my number 7. The other one is my number 5. But my number 7 is John Cena versus Seth Rollins, title for title match. Of course, U.S. title for WWE title at SummerSlam 2015. Of course, this is the match that Seth Rollins won thanks to Jon Stewart, who had been involved with some type of feud with Seth Rollins, in weeks leading up to this, came out and he just simply said he refused to see anyone tie Ric Flair's record. So he attacked John Cena with a steel chair, leading to Rollins in the pedigree on the chair for him to become the first man, I believe, to ever carry both the United States and WWE World Heavyweight Championships, of course. And this is one of the matches that, again, there's 2 matches in 2015 I felt that really made Seth Rollins feel like a main eventer. The first one was at Royal Rumble 2015 in that triple threat with Lesnar, Cena, and Rollins. That was awesome. And then this match right here, showing that him and Cena, even though we've seen the match how many times, the year before, even the tables match, again, I mentioned that in my matches, in top 10 matches that include tables, ladders, and chairs, that match, that table match, because I'm not a big fan of tables matches usually, since you just have to give it through one table to win the match. But I appreciate the drama in that match, of course, also, and the fact that I felt that Cena and Rollins have great chemistry together. Just watch, of course, their performances in the Gauntlet match last year for Elimination Chamber. But I thought these two put on good. They made, even though Seth Rollins, of course, was not really one of the best booked champions, which once again was not really his fault. He was just booked poorly as champion. But this is one. I feel like as WWE champion, this is probably his best match, I felt. And of course, just gave Rollins another rub, in history, winning both the U.S. title and the WWE title on the same night for sure, just giving him that moment. So for what should have been, him having that statue, but then Sting ruined it, unfortunately, pushing to the dump. But I remember enjoying that match as well, so that's why it's my number 7 on this list. John Cena versus Seth Rollins, title for title at SummerSlam 2015. My number 6, now, this is not one of the best matches in the history for this type of match. But again, I witnessed this match live, and even though, again, it didn't really end well and it didn't really go as good as we wanted to, I still, and even though I didn't have the best seats either, of course, because they were on the floor, they were all the way in the back on the floor, and of course, there were times like, oh, you have to sit down, you're blocking this person's view. It's like, well, we can't really see, over. So unless we ever get front row seats again, we're not doing floor seats again. But my number 6 is the 2014 Royal Rumble match. We'll see that in person. Now, of course, we made our voices heard that night. We wanted Daniel Bryan in that match, of course, so badly, but they did not do that. And unfortunately, we booed Rey Mysterio when he came out at number 30, as always. But, witnessing that, a Rumble match in person, I thought was fun. And also, what's special about that match, also, it was CM Punk's last match. So even though I didn't get to see much of CM Punk in person, because that Raw I went to in October, it was in the midst of his feud with Paul Heyman and Ryback and Curtis Axel. My gosh, well, the Ryback stuff in general was just god awful. Oh man, as always, Punk said, first night out, gorilla press to the table, but he missed the table, tilted his pelvis, and just that's when Punk's health just went downhill big time. But yeah, that match also I appreciate for it being Punk's final match. Of course, I got to see this Roman Reigns make history by having 12 eliminations, breaking Kane's record of 11 from the 2001 Royal Rumble match. And of course, having our voice heard that night when Batista won, and everyone just booed like crazy. And I think someone said also they witnessed Batista up the ramp and giving someone the finger. I think, I'm not sure if that is true or not, but it set down, set the story for, what was yet to come. And once again, I can appreciate this Rumble, even though it was not that great. I appreciate it for where it led to afterwards. Again, with, the Authority, getting, the match they won for WrestleMania. And then Daniel Bryan just walking in on that and like inserting, what the fans were well, most of the fans, at least, who were on the Daniel Bryan bandwagon, of course, were showing that they won. So, it's one of the most exciting matches of the year, and I got to witness it in person. So that's why it is my number 6 on this list. My eye getting all red here. No, it's not. I don't know. I just had a sleeper in my eye. So far on my list, the honorable mention was AJ Styles and Rusev at Extreme Rules last year. Number 10 was Bryan and the Brotherhood taking on the Shield on the Raw of October 7, 2013. Number 9 was New Day in the Bar for the Raw tag titles at Roadblock End of the Line. Number 8 was Finn Balor and Kevin Owens for the NXT Championship at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 1, the ladder match. Number 7, Cena and Rollins title for title at SummerSlam 2015. Number 6 was Royal Rumble 2014. Check the live chat again. See what it was. Nothing new in the live chat. Okay, that's fine, guys. A little surprised, but okay, unless if something happened. Let me just refresh it really quick. Was anything new in the live chat? Because I still see I have 3 viewers. Oh wow, I guess nothing new in the live chat. All right, that's fine. This thought there was, as I said, there's 3 or 4 viewers. So okay, so those are my lists so far. Moving on now to number 5 for my top 10 matches I have seen of all time in person. My number 5 was the main event from SummerSlam 2015, Brock Lesnar versus The Undertaker. I believe this was this? It was the first time I'd ever seen The Undertaker in person, because I was at the Raw. Again, I mentioned this is one of my favorite segments I've seen in person. Let's talk about real quick before, but one of my favorite segments I've ever seen in person was the Raw back in March of 2015, where Bray Wyatt was demanding The Undertaker's answer whether or not he will face him at WrestleMania or not. I saw that live in person as well. But that, I remember that cool effect and everything, but just symbolizing that Taker will be there at WrestleMania 31. But this was actually the first time I actually saw Taker in person, like for real, because again, he returned at Battleground 2015. And then of course, kind of like a rematch we kind of did want to see, based off of Undertaker losing the Brock Lesnar with his undefeated streak. It took him 16 months to finally say I've had enough and go after Brock himself. Although the dynamic was a feud. I mean, that was definitely, I think, my feud of the year for 2015. But the dynamic was a little bit weird, because they kind of were treating Brock Lesnar like after WrestleMania like a little bit more of like a baby face, I felt. So like it was not that long, because he was the baby face in the feud with Seth Rollins, and Undertaker came back, and Undertaker kind of felt more like the heel. He was doing low blows and whatnot, but then of course he went back to feeling like a baby face again. When he feuded with the Wyatt family, was a terrible feud for Survivor Series 2015. Again, one of the worst pay-per-views I've ever watched. Survivor Series 2015, just god awful for sure. Lost my train of thought again. But so this match in general, it had like the weird finish to it, but I remember it being, a good match to close out the show, even though, it had dragged on. It was the first 4-hour SummerSlam, and of course the first ever 4-hour pay-per-view ever was at live in person. So, me and my friends were already kind of, drained out, but, going back and watch this match again, I watched all the SummerSlams last year. I could definitely still say this was still a good match. Had a freak finish to it. But it's definitely a moment I'm not going to forget because again, it was the first match I ever got to witness Undertaker wrestle in person. So I gotta give that as my number 5. The Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam 2015. Number 4. Now this one, I'm probably, unless you're from Pittsburgh, I was probably one of the only few people that got to see this match because this match actually took place at an NXT live event. Besides Takeover Brooklyn, this was the first ever NXT live event I ever attended. Besides Takeover Brooklyn, of course. And I actually had forgotten about this match until I went to see NXT live back in September, which I can't believe I forgot about that. I should have mentioned that in my in the year in review video with Dan and whatnot, and Robbie. But it was a match, and I had to look up the exact date to make sure, but I believe I'm correct. This took place on January 29th, 2016. It was at a live event here at Stage AE in Pittsburgh. The match, hear this match out. Sami Zayn versus Johnny Gargano at an NXT live event in Pittsburgh on January 29th, 2016. I remember this match because I forgot about this until I was at a live event in Pittsburgh last September when Johnny Gargano came out and he was talking on a microphone and he mentioned that match. And I think back to it, and then I remember that match because it was kind of like it was right before Sami Zayn was getting ready to move on to the main roster. And Johnny Gargano was like him and Tommaso Ciampa were definitely upcoming stars with DIY. This is kind of like a match that, think about it, I remember it was a fun match. Sammy gave Johnny sign of respect towards the end of the match, giving him the handshake and whatnot, and just acknowledging his talent for sure. I can't remember who won the match though. Probably was Sammy, I think it was, but it was basically to me like the hottest baby face of NXT, somewhat passing on the torch to the next. Then again, you had Shinsuke Nakamura, but Shinsuke was never really built up as like an underdog. He's built like a god that we all just loved in NXT. Johnny Gargano was that next, upcoming, underdog baby face that was going to definitely, hit the high notes in NXT for sure. So I kind of appreciate that match because to me it was kind of like like a passing of the torch moment. Even though it was at a live event, but it was a match that I definitely go back and appreciate. If I've ever able to find footage of it on YouTube or anything like that. But it was just a match that I definitely enjoyed in person, and a match that I feel like years later, I know Sami Zayn's been underutilized in the main roster, but where Johnny Gargano went after that match took place also is just something for me to appreciate a little bit more. I feel, which is why I got to give credit to this match at my number 4, Sami Zayn versus Johnny Gargano. At an NXT live event in Pittsburgh on January 29th, 2016. And if anybody's in the live chat, please tell me that you're here because I have not gotten any live chats to start reading off my list of number 10, but I keep saying I have like 4 or 5 viewers in the live chat. Just want to make sure my live chat is working because last thing I got is Mark saying that's where I live. But my number 5 again, my number 4 is Johnny Gargano versus Sami Zayn at the NXT Live event on January 29th, 2016. Staying in 2016, we go to number 3. A match that I actually really enjoyed. It was on a pretty strong edition of Raw I attended live in 2016. And no, guys, in case you guys are wondering, I was not at the Raw. I did not go to the Raw on July 25th, 2016. The first Raw since the brand split went into effect when Finn Balor just got that rocket ship pushed to the top, winning those two, that fatal 4-way and pinning Roman Reigns clean. Again, I still wish I would have been there, but I didn't go because my friend I usually go with, he was going with his dad that night for his birthday. So just have some father-son time. So I don't have anyone else to go with. So I wish I would be able to go to that Raw live, but unfortunately I was not, which again kind of sucked. I see your chat there, Mark saying keep Elimination Chamber, get rid of Fastlane, which I for sure agree. But Dolph Ziggler and Triple H though was a match. I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself a little bit. But I went to a Raw, earlier in 2016. It was on the day here was March 14th, 2016. I remember this having end with an ending segment with Shane McMahon and The Undertaker. Also, I remember from the show was the beatdown Roman Reigns gave to Triple H after Triple H had this match, Dolph Ziggler and Triple H. This was, I think, the 9:30, 9:45 hour, I believe it, 9:45 match or something like that on Raw. And, from based off of, the history with Dolph Ziggler and Triple H after what happened at Survivor Series 2014, I felt that this match, at some point was going to take place. And I never thought we'd actually get on an episode of Raw. Hence, I'd be there live for it. And I remember personally, it was one of my favorite matches that Dolph Ziggler was definitely involved with. I felt that, Triple H made Ziggler look strong. Dolph, made Triple H look strong. Triple H did the same thing with Dolph. And to me, it was one of, I think the stipulation was if Ziggler would win the match, then he would get to pick what he would want to do match-wise for WrestleMania. He lost, but it was just like a fun match to see, Dolph Ziggler allowed to be opened up and go all out against Triple H, and again to kind of have that match that I kind of wanted to see after Survivor Series 2014 because it seemed like there was some history there with him, of course, that could have led to a match eventually, and I definitely appreciated that match, for that, and I was honored I got to witness that live. Of course, also, what was I going to say here also? That was also after the match when Roman Reigns returned for the first time in like 3 weeks as Triple H beat him down on the announce table, busting his face open, having that reconstructed face surgery or whatnot, which that brawl they had was nice, but again, they just overdid the brawls after a while, and it just, especially that last, the go home show for me, it brawled like 3 times, and it got kind of old, and of course the match just sucked to begin with. But the match between Dolph Ziggler and Triple H though was a match I got to witness live on Raw, which I thought was rare and a special moment for sure to experience. So that's why I wanted to give it my number 3 on this top 10 list. Number 2, the opening match. Well, was the opening match of the main show, but it was not the first match I saw of that show because the first match I saw was a pre-show match between Cody Rhodes, Goldust, and the New Age Outlaws for the tag titles. That was a fun match. Give that one credit too. But my number 2 is the opening match to Royal Rumble 2014. Daniel Bryan and Bray Wyatt. This was, of course, in the midst of that feud where, kind of that feud that, took, Bryan away from the Authority for a while as he dealt with the Wyatt family. Of course, again, it was supposed to having Daniel Bryan have a match with, eventually Bryan having a match with, of all people, Sheamus at WrestleMania 30. So they were going to pass up, that Authority storyline for a match with Sheamus. But Daniel Bryan, who had, had that heartbreaking turn where he joined the Wyatt family after the last Raw of 2013. He said that he wanted to, do a gauntlet match to get his hands on Bray Wyatt. Well, actually, he wanted his hands on Bray Wyatt, but the Authority threw him in a gauntlet match. We had to face Harper and Rowan, and he faced Bray Wyatt, but it ended in an ODQ. And finally, Edwards Bryan was like, he had enough. He's like, the machine just doesn't work, isn't strong enough for this. Just, let me join the family. And then for a couple of weeks, we had Daniel Wyatt pretty much. And then, of course, I still remember that night, the Raw in Rhode Island 2 weeks later, when they had that steel cage. I remember it was my first day back of college that semester, and I went to watch a basketball game at my school. And then, which was a couple months before, we had that big upset over Kentucky, by the way. Just to get that out there, RMU had that big upset over Kentucky in 2013. Unfortunately, I was not there because where was I? Across the street at Burger King working. But anyways, I remember that night I was at that basketball game. I came home and it said the main event was going to be the Usos versus Daniel Bryan and Bray Wyatt in a tornado tag match inside of a steel cage. And that was a fun match. But the thing about the match, though, was the only way you could have won was by pinfall or escape. But Kane had, for some reason, tied the cage shut with the lock. And then afterwards, that's when, Daniel Bryan just turned on Bray Wyatt and just beat the ever-living hell out of him. And again, from that tear-jerking, heel turn a couple weeks earlier, joined the Wyatt family, to then Bryan literally just kicking the ever-living piss out of Bray Wyatt. Again, that took place in Rhode Island. And the crowd just it was one of the loudest pops I remember ever hearing, when, of course, we're watching that. But then seeing this match take place 2 weeks later at, we'll get, it was when Bray Wyatt was still, having so much momentum behind him for sure. Daniel Bryan, of course, was, the hottest thing going at the time. But Bray Wyatt, was definitely still the upstart who was putting on some really good matches. Again, I know he lost a Mania to Cena Mania, but I still thought until, Cena decided to hit Rowan with a chair shot. That was a pretty good match that him and Cena were having. But the match, this, in my opinion, was probably one of the best, if not the best match for Bray Wyatt. I still will not forget that ending, which was awesome. Bryan went for a suicide dive to Bray Wyatt, catching Bryan and countering with a Sister Abigail into the barricade. I thought that was sick. For sure, seeing that live. Even though, of course, I was rooting for Daniel Bryan, of course, to win that match. Bray Wyatt winning that was awesome though for him as well. I definitely, it was a match for his career, definitely. That gave him a lot of momentum. Unfortunately, it all just died down afterwards. So that's why I give that my number 2, Daniel Bryan versus Bray Wyatt at the 2014 Royal Rumble. So far, before I get to number 1, my honorable mention, my honorable number 11 again was AJ Styles and Rusev at Extreme Rules 2018. I'll say 17. Number 10 was Brian Rhodes Goldust against the Shield at Raw on October 7th, 2013. Number 9 was New Day in the Bar for the Raw Tag Titles at Roadblock End of the Line 2016. Number 8 was Balor and Owens NXT Championship ladder match, TakeOver Brooklyn 1. Number 7 was Cena and Rollins title for title at SummerSlam 2015. Number 6 was Royal Rumble 2014. Number 5 was Lesnar and Taker at SummerSlam 2015. Number 4 was Johnny Gargano versus Sami Zayn at an NXT live event in Pittsburgh on January 29th, 2016. Number 3 was Dolph Ziggler and Triple H on the March 14th, 2016 episode of Raw. Number 2 was Daniel Bryan versus Bray Wyatt at the Royal Rumble in 2014. And my number 1, it's got to be this match because of how legendary it was. And, just the moment it did. It was, I had watched a couple takeovers before. The only time the first takeover, the first ever takeover I watched was TakeOver Revenge. I think we saw a tag match with Charlotte and Bayley taking on the team of Emma and Dana Brooke, who were a solid heel faction together. That unfortunately didn't work out on the main roster due to Emma's injury and the whole Emmalina crap, but we're not going to go down that road. But of course, that show also featured Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch in a definitely one of the best hidden, underrated matches for sure in NXT history, I feel. But then, of course, it got me a taste of, the 4 Horsewomen and what they were going to be doing on the main roster when they came up. And I got a full taste of it, of course, even more like what these girls are made of when we got this match at TakeOver Brooklyn 1. Sasha Banks and Bayley for the NXT Women's Championship. I have not had a chance to watch TakeOver Brooklyn 1 since, but I remember, I'm going to, again, my next retro series is to watch and review all takeovers, all NXT pay-per-views that I did not get to review for this channel yet. Whether I've seen them or not, I'm going to go back and watch those eventually. But it was one of those matches that I just did not need to watch NXT to, understand what was going on here. I was already getting the vibes, the simple story behind, Bayley being that underdog, Sasha Banks being, that badass, bitchy boss character pretty much that, felt she was like the best. And for real, she was, but Bayley overcoming that. To even seeing, Bayley and Sasha's mothers in the crowd and whatnot. To Izzy, Bayley's biggest fan, of course, being out there as well. Again, I'm not crying. It's just I had something in my eye. It's bothering the heck out of me. To seeing those moments there when watching I watched the WWE 24 for Special for Takeover Brooklyn 1. But just like the simple story of the match told with Sasha, like taking the tape off of Bayley's hand and stomping it into the steel steps. I remember that. Just like, honestly, injuring Bayley and wounding her, like a girl who, doesn't look like she's like, the most dangerous, not the most, aggressive woman, you could really ask for, but she's that girl that was booked, in NXT that was booked for, that anyone would want to, grow up to be like, basically, and be like that role model and whatnot. And she, of course, brought the fight to Sasha again, and then Bayley wins the championship again. It was definitely my women's match of the year, probably the best match of the year overall for 2015. But I just remember that moment. Of course, afterwards, all 4 of the horsewomen, with, of course, 3 of them get ready to go up to the main roster, all embracing in the middle of the ring, kind of taking a little bit of like a curtain call, which I thought was definitely amazing there. But just that match, again, I'm so glad, I was still able to make it to NXT TakeOver, for at least the second hour that night when I got there late because of the mega bus getting in traffic. But I thought that was just an awesome match to watch. Definitely history. Definitely a match that got me to realize, hey, these are 2 of 4 women who are getting ready to go, who are, well, one of them and the other 2, weren't in the match, are going to the main roster, and they're getting ready to basically tear the house down and set, example on the main roster what women's wrestling is all about. And of course they did a year later at WrestleMania 32. My match of the night, personally, still from that show, the triple threat with Charlotte, Sasha, and Becky for the returning women's championship for sure. But that is my favorite match that I've ever witnessed live in person. And that, guys, is my list for my top 10 WWE matches I have seen in person. So one more time, going from the bottom to the top again, my number 11 honorable mention was AJ Styles and Rusev at Extreme Rules 2018. Number 10 was Daniel Bryan, Cody Rhodes, Goldust versus The Shield on the October 7th, 2013 edition of Raw. Number 9 was the New Day in the Bar for the Raw Tag Team Championship at Roadblock End of the Line in 2016. Number 8 was Finn Balor and Kevin Owens in the NXT Championship ladder match at TakeOver Brooklyn 1. Number 7 was John Cena and Seth Rollins title for title at SummerSlam 2015. Number 6 was the Royal Rumble match in 2014. Number 5 was Brock Lesnar versus The Undertaker at SummerSlam 2015. Number 4, Johnny Gargano versus Sami Zayn, the NXT live event in Pittsburgh on January 29th, 2016. Number 3 was Dolph Ziggler versus Triple H on the March 14th, 2016 episode of Raw. Number 2 is Daniel Bryan versus Bray Wyatt at Royal Rumble 2014. And number 1, Sasha Banks and Bayley for the NXT Women's Championship at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 1. Checking the live chat one more time before we check out here, guys, and see what we got here. Let me see here. Let's see here. Yeah, this is where the live chat start working again. Yeah, keep Chamber, but get rid of Fastlane. I agree, Mark. How much longer is WWE going to keep us waiting on Hall of Fame announcement? Again, I thought they always did them. The Go Home showed the Royal Rumble. I always thought they announced the first Hall of Fame entrance. We don't need two pay-per-views between Rumble and Mania. We don't even need any pay-per-views at all between Rumble and Mania for sure. So, yeah, I'm kind of mad they're still doing 2. Again, if they're going to do 2, again, just go back to 1 being Raw, 1 being SmackDown. Don't be, 2 dual brand. It's just, oh, boy. If last year's Fastlane felt pointless, which ended up being, a decent show, a show that I felt like wasn't awful, but, some stuff happened. But, of course, my best match for sure for that show was definitely the 6-pack challenge. But that still felt like it didn't need to happen. Lauren wasn't a fan of Wyatt. And Brian wasn't that good. She seemed better in her opinion, which is all right. I still love the match though. She'd rather have the Elimination Chamber than Fastlane, and now they're both co-branded. Yeah, it's definitely. She does not remember Triple H and Ziggler. Again, I definitely recommend checking out the match again. It was on the Raw on March 14th, 2016 in Pittsburgh. Again, it was a good match. I definitely recommend checking it out. Did you attend Royal Rumble 2015? No, that was in Philadelphia. But again, it snowed. Again, I didn't have the network that was during a time where I didn't have the network yet. So I was going to be going over to Dan's with some other friends to watch it. But they were calling for snow, but I still went anyways. And with how bad that show was and how pissed off I was after that show ended, I had to drive home in 6 inches of snow. Ah, man. Lesnar, Cena, and Rollins was definitely great at Rumble 2015. How was working at Burger King? I hated it. I hated it. 2.5 years is enough for me. As soon as I got that first internship I got, I'm like, I'm gone. Goodbye. Or I'm sorry, in Ciampa's words. Or Batista. I was out. And I was going to go back at first after that first internship ended, but then I'm like, oh, I really don't want to go back. And luckily I got offered a second one. So I took that instead. So yeah, not going back to Burger King. Too good to work there. But I was there the night RMU got that big upset over Kentucky in 2013. That was still awesome to see for sure. Has Mania ever been in Philadelphia? I do not think so, actually. It has not. What was up with them ending the Balor and Wyatt feud after TLC 2017? Didn't it seem kind of sudden? Well, my opinion, they should have ended. Well, here's the thing. One, the match did not happen at TLC 2017. Again, to me, the feud should have ended after No Mercy with that man-to-man match. Because honestly, it was kind of a weak feud that was doing nothing for either one of them. And then they were going to have what, Pumpkin King Finn Balor versus Bray Wyatt and drag Sister Abigail. Again, when that match, I'm so glad if that match happened. It could have definitely just completely hit both Bray Wyatt and Finn Balor thought rock bottom. Thank goodness we had that match with Balor and Styles. That was awesome. Well, I mean, it was good before like a B pay-per-view good. Like a WrestleMania match definitely could be better, definitely. But what was gonna say now here? Crap, I haven't train of thought there. But that match, of course, is good. But again, if they would have had Pumpkin Balor versus Bray Wyatt, Sister Abigail, and drag, I would have been like, oh my goodness. Because I remember I was hoping the feud was going to end after 2014, after No Mercy in 2017. But then they didn't. So I'm like, okay, let's see what this does. And the moment they had Bray Wyatt be Sister Abigail and drag, I'm like, okay, I'm done. Goodbye. But then Bray Wyatt got sick with the mumps, so that's why they didn't have the match. Which thank God that match did not happen. It would have been awful. We never did get to see Sister Abigail, besides when Bray Wyatt turned into him. Did you think Bray's push was demoted after WrestleMania 30? I mean, I feel like a lot of people feel like it was, but keep in mind, he still feuded for the WWE Championship. Well, he was in the match for the vacated championship at Money in the Bank that year. He did have a, good, but nothing like that worthy of the right home feud with Chris Jericho, and he won the feud in 2014. The feud with Ambrose was not bad, but it didn't really lead to anything for either one of them. But I still say I think the match that Bray Wyatt really took the downfall, I still gotta say, was when he lost to Taker at WrestleMania 31. Because I mean, he still felt like he was somewhat towards the top that whole year after he lost to Cena, but I still think the match with Taker, I think for sure, was when he really fell off. I gotta say, because afterwards, what did he really do? Not really. He feuded with Ryback. Okay, and then he where did he go after that? Oh goodness, I can't remember now. Oh, he feuded with a Roman, which was all right until he lost a feud, and then he got squashed by Taker and Kane at Survivor Series, and blah. But I think any of this Taker match, I think, was when he really fell off the end. I feel gotta see here. I did hear rumors about Paige supposed to be Sister Abigail, which would have been interesting. 2013's Rumble was all right. You've seen all these in person. Rollins versus Cena and Finn versus Owens was great. Yeah, I saw all those in person. Again, I went to New York for SummerSlam weekend 2015. Again, I'm going back to New York again in April for WrestleMania weekend, where I will see it. Well, again, we're not gonna. Again, the plan is for WrestleMania. We're gonna, since Takeover was moved to Friday, we're gonna watch Takeover first, at Dan's house, then take the mega bus overnight, go to the Hall of Fame ceremony that Saturday, go to WrestleMania Sunday. We're going to go to the Raw after Mania on Monday and go home on Tuesday. But yeah, I've seen all these matches in person, as I'm saying. No honorable mentions. Can't really think of much. Oh, it's awesome. David versus Sasha was awesome. And they still haven't announced the venue or date for next year's TakeOver and Royal Rumble. Yeah, that's right. They did announce it last year around the same time the Rumble took place. Lauren said, though, great list. I'm tired of heading to bed. I'll see you Monday. See you then. See you later as well, Mark. And we got Robbie in the live chat saying, what's up, first off, Robbie? I saw a really good NXT Women's Championship match between Asuka and Sonya Deville in San Jose back in October 2016. Sonya really impressed him that night, which is awesome to see. Also saw a real good hard-hitting match between Oney Lorcan and Patrick Clark before Velveteen Dream on the same NXT show. Yeah, I forgot he was when he was just Patrick Clark. He just like he still shows up. I remember actually seeing some segment. I think it was a segment when he came out to confront Nakamura, where he said when he already kind of started teasing the whole Velveteen Dream gimmick. I remember that segment also. And then he said, "Oh, Mania 15 actually happened in Philadelphia in '99." That's right. Oh yeah, my bad. I forgot about that. Thank you for reminding me about that, Robbie. But yeah, that's going to be it, guys. But since Robbie's in the live chat, guys, as always, guys, if you like, check out Robbie's channel. He's got his fantasy booking videos he always throws in there. Even if it's not fantasy booking, well, somewhat fantasy booking, whatever he does is, preview predictions for, any takeovers or WWE pay-per-views for sure. But any of his fantasy booking videos, check out. And as always, guys, if you think they're awesome, please get hashtag Please Sign Robbie trending on Twitter for sure, as Robbie will hopefully one day, as I always say, him and Triple H will kick Vince's and Road Dogg's asses out of their seats. They will sit down and they will rule the whole show for sure with WWE or AEW also. If Robbie goes to signs at AEW instead, well, then again, actually, let's think about it. AEW though gives creative freedom to their wrestlers, so maybe who knows? We'll see. But yes, just a shout out there for Robbie as well. But thank you also to Mark and Lauren for joining me in this live stream of my top 10 favorite matches I have seen in person. And yes, all those matches I listed, I have seen in person. Again, from SummerSlam 2013, NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 1, Roadblock End of the Line, Extreme Rules 2018, almost 2017, I don't know why, and even the Royal Rumble in 2014. I've seen all those matches live in person. But yeah, guys, thank you for joining me live. Once again, guys, slap like on the video, subscribe or content, come to your channel, follow me on Twitter at @DemandEverybody93. Feel free to feel also any of your favorite matches you've witnessed live in person in the comment section as well. Or if you want to do a video response, do that as well, guys. But that is it, guys. I'm going to try to do my Elimination Chamber cards sometime this weekend, but I'm trying to, wrap up the video game Let's Plays of Backyard Baseball and Harry Potter and Sorcerer's Stone, which I'm almost done with both of those. Added products still got some ways to go, but yeah, I'm kind of backing off from my baseball players right now. That stuff will eventually get where I want to get to with those. But I'm kind of been a little burnt out from those. But I'm going to at least focus on finishing those two games first, and then more odds than to get to come to the channel as always, guys. So thanks again for joining me live. Until then, guys, have a great rest of your night and peace out, everybody.